Hi everyone. So in this session, we are going to look into how we can create entity framework model inside Visual Studio. To do this, let's just take a look into our database. So the database I have is about attendance system, and I have two tables. Under table section, students, which includes some information about the student like ID, first name, last name, address, and faculty ID, to which faculty the student or the students belong to. And same, we have faculties. Faculties has two columns only, ID and faculty name. So as you can see, we have a foreign key inside students table, which is linked back to faculties table. Okay, and notice how the table names are in plural. And then later on, when I import or I create my entity framework model, you're going to see that by default, it's going to actually make them singular. So let's go into Visual Studio. So this is my system. I have already created MVC application. So again, before we start the process, you need to ensure that there are few libraries must be installed into your system. So right click on your project. So if you have one or more projects, select projects to where that we're gonna create entity framework model. So in this case, I have a single project. Right click on it and then choose manage NuGet packages. Under NuGet packages, a management system or window, make sure these three libraries are installed into your application. So EntityFramework, since I'm working on .NET Core 3.1, okay, so this is important. Make sure if you are working on your version, you can select the latest one. Okay, but always make sure that when you check the dependencies section, that the library that you are installing should, be compatible with the current Visual Studio or the current .NET Framework version that you are working on. So since I'm not working on .NET 6, then in this case, I decided to go to lower the version since this system would run on other PCs, which actually has .NET Core 3.1. But as I said, if you are working on your version, so just you can install the latest one. And always you can scroll down to check the dependencies section to ensure that the system is compatible or the library is compatible with your .NET Core version you have. Actually, it should shows here information on some description. Due to some reasons, it doesn't show up, but I think you got the idea. So always check the version. And one thing to notice that all the libraries must have the same version. So if you decided to go with Entity Framework Core 5.0.17, again, because I'm using .NET Core 3.1, then the other libraries must follow the same version. Okay, so this is one might be of the mistakes that you may commit, that where you don't really check or ensure that the version must be same among all the libraries that you install. Okay, once you're done, this is an important step. Build your system before you go any further. Build your system to ensure that everything is fine and the libraries installed also are fine too. And there's no compatibility issue. Okay, so rebuild all succeeded, no issues. Then now we're gonna create entity framework model for the database I showed you earlier. One thing I need to get from Visual Studio, right click on your project and copy the full path where your project is located, because later inside PowerShell I'm going to navigate to this path. Okay, so copy the full path. Okay, and now go to PowerShell, as you see, and navigate to the project folder. So here I got the full path to the project. Okay, so just I need to ensure that I'm navigating or changing the directory to the projects folder. Again, to the projects folder, not to the solution folder. Okay, before you go any further, you need to ensure that Entity Framework, .NET Entity Framework is installed into your machine. So you may run the following command. you may run the following command: .NET tool install -- global .NET Entity Framework. Now, if you are working also on .NET Core 3.1, okay, not the latest version, so you may need to have specific version for your installation. Okay, so in this case, I have version 5.0.17 for .NET EF. Again, if you are working on latest version, you don't need to specify the version, but just I'm showing you how you're gonna deal with it if you have a lower version of .NET Core. Okay, then you need to specify the version. If you're not sure what version you need to have, then you can go to NuGet website and search for .NET Entity Framework. Now, the latest version is 7.0.0. Then, since in my case, I'm looking for the lower .NET Core, I don't have .NET Core 6. So this package is compatible with this framework or higher. Okay, assuming that you don't have this version. Now, on this machine, I already have .NET Core 6, but assuming that you don't have, then what you need to do, you need to find a suitable version which is compatible with your .NET Core version. So you can click on versions, as you see here, and then find out which version you're gonna use. Okay, so in my case, as I said, since I'm working on .NET Core 3.1 because I intend to run this application on different machines, so I need to install this version 5.0.17, or I think I can go a bit higher if I need to. I think if I go with version 6 also can, still compatible with 3.1. So again, this is the idea. You can locate which version you're gonna work on, and then copy the command, corresponding command, and then go back to the PowerShell and just paste that command. So this is the first step. You need to ensure that .NET Entity Framework is installed on your machine. Okay, once you do this step, that means you are ready to run .NET Entity Framework command. So you write .NET Entity Framework, DB context, scaffold, and then you need to specify, make sure this is the connection string we have here. Make sure you specify the server name. So in my case, I'm working on SQL Express and my current device, so just I can indicate by local. SQL Express is the DB instance name, and then you specify the database name. In this case, it's attend sysdb. And finally, just you keep those as they are. Trusted connection true, trusted server certificate true. And then you need to specify the package or the library that is intended to use for this, to run this command. Since I'm working again on SQL Server and we have already installed this SQL Server library there inside my application, then I need to use this one. If you are working on different one, because you have MySQL or Oracle, then make sure you choose or you write here the corresponding library name. And finally here, I have another argument where I'm specifying the output of running this command. So I don't want to have Scaffold generating files into the root directory of my project. This is why I have specified a specific location. So in other words, I'm asking Scaffold to create a separate folder called attend sysdb model and locate all the generated files inside this folder. Okay, so let's do this together. You click. So build started. This is why we have already rebuilt our application earlier. Otherwise, we may face some issues here. So you build first there, ensure that there's no error inside your Visual Studio coming up, and then you need to come back here and run this command. Now, since everything seems just fine, I didn't get any issue, and the PowerShell is already has finished and completed running the command. Now we can go back to our Visual Studio and let's see what changes have done. And now here you see that I got a new folder listed inside my project. If I expand, I'm gonna see that there I have 3 files. The 2 files correspond to the table's name, and notice now how they have been turned into singular. So there, because inside the table we have a list of records, while here the class represents a single record, right? If we open, for example, student, so here we have a class, and this class corresponds to a single record inside the database. This is why this is now named as singular. And same for faculty, we have a class, and finally we have the DB context. This one we're going to use later in order to establish connection with database and use EntityFramework. Okay, now here you have some warning. It says to protect potentially sensitive information to your connection string, you should move it out of the source code. And that's true. So you're supposed to take this out from here and locate it inside app settings. You can create here a place for connection strings and list your connection string inside. And then of course you need to go to the program.cs and fetch the connection string. And even you can create DB context inside, and then we can fetch our DB context easily inside each controller. But I'm not going to do this for now. Probably in a separate video I'm going to show you how to do it. But now, for the sake of simplicity, let's just keep everything as it is, and let's just build our system one more time to ensure that everything is running just fine. Okay, so you see that I got no issues and rebuild was done successfully. So this is how you can build EntityFramework model inside your system. Okay, so I repeat again. First, ensure that the 3 libraries installed into your system. Inside managing new get packages, you can locate them. Okay, and of course, when you need to search for first time, if you don't have, then you need to go to browse and locate EntityFrameworkCore and these 3 libraries. And as I said, ensure that you have the same version installed into your machine. So this is step number 1. Step number 2, build your system. Build or rebuild your system to ensure that everything is running just fine. And then you need to do what? You need to go to the PowerShell and make sure that you have installed .NET EntityFramework command. Okay. And finally, after you do this step, then you need to run Scaffold command. Once you do so, you can go back to your Visual Studio, and you should notice that you have already got a new folder inside your project where EntityFramework has been already created, model has been already created for you. Okay, so in next video, we're gonna use EntityFramework. We're gonna see how we can use it using C# and retrieve some information from our DB.